rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions to the agenda?
No.
No. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, our first guests tonight are Dr. Travis DePoit, Kelly, and Chris from the school district.
No pom-poms.
We'll give you some.
All right, well, we appreciate all of you giving us the opportunity to come here and speak. We want to thank everybody who came to our informational meetings. We had 3 of those. We had one in Powers and we had 2 here in Hermansville. With those types of things, you really never know exactly how many people are going to show up. I was, somewhat expecting to just be giving a presentation to our board and maybe 1 or 2 community members, but I think in the 3 sessions we had over 60 community members in attendance, so it was great. There was a lot of really good questions that were asked by community members, and we wanted to come in front of you guys tonight and kind of talk about some of the main questions that were brought up. One being what's going to be done with the building in Hermansville, and the other is the financial implications of the bond. So we're going to touch on both of those today, and then if anybody has any questions about the project or the grant that we received, we'd be happy to answer those as well. Do you want me to touch on the plan, or do you want to talk about it?
So, I can go ahead and start
Okay.
that. So, in the meetings we talked about, there was really 2 top questions, like you said. One was, what's the impact to me financially? The 2 is, what are we gonna do at Hermansville? Because during those meetings, those that attended understood that through the process of elimination and study, we determined that we have to move the school to Powers. There simply isn't enough room in Hermansville. We went through all those details and they'll be spelled out. So we had a lot of dialogue back and forth about that. And Travis has talked to some other places that had that scenario where they had to leave a school building. And they had an arrangement with the local township where it was on a lease program with the township for basically $1 for 99 years. And then this township got to use the building for whatever purposes they had. So we, after evaluating what to do with that school, we would like the town to entertain that as the use for that building going forward. Granted, this wouldn't even, we would still occupy that building for 3 more years. This wouldn't happen until the fall of '28. But we would like to get all those wheels in motion and minds thinking and brainstorming what can be used for that building. I think there's a lot of purposes that can benefit this town, but everybody has their own opinion. So we're just here to kick it off so we can get people talking about it, get some dialogue going.
And
With some ideas.
Yep. And I guess, we brought this up at our informational meetings. What we don't want is the building in Hermansville to be underutilized and to be something that the community's not proud of. All 3 of us live in Hermansville. We're residents. I've been here for 12 years. These guys longer than I have. The school's 150 yards from my house. The last thing I want is something in this community that we can't be proud of. So for us, being able to still utilize the playground and have opportunities for our community, if they want to use the gym or the kitchen for an event, they have that opportunity. Subleasing some of the classrooms for small business startups in our community. I think there's a lot of untapped opportunities for this agreement, and it's really, beneficial for both the district and, in my opinion, the township also. So. We want to just move on and talk about the
Yeah, you can go ahead.
financial. Okay, so there was quite a bit of conversation also at the informational meetings. You know, anytime that there is an initiative on the ballot, where there's, you know, talk of a bond or a millage, tax increase, obviously there's gonna be questions, rightfully so. The main questions were, what are my taxes going to increase, and for how long will this bond be in effect? So we think back to November and was it August or September when our sinking fund? August and November, we had sinking fund initiatives on the ballot. We're asking for 3 mills for 4 years, and essentially that was for us to try to just band-aid the schools to get by without really much of a plan in sight. Now that we've secured this grant, we've already secured $15.4 million, and for us and our architects and our CM working together, total project cost is just over 25 million. We would need to come to the public for the remaining 10 million. So we've already secured over 60% of the necessary amount needed for this new building. We're asking the taxpayers for 40% to get us over. And what that equates to is a 2.2 mil increase from what's currently being levied. So the district is currently levying 1.72 mils, and that would be a 2.2 increase for that for 22 years. Now, our financial experts that we're working with through PFM, although the bond term is 22 years, based on property values continuing to increase, we think that that bond would be paid off sooner than the 22 years. We're predicting under 20 years for it to be paid off. Also, you know, we want to be sure that we're giving everybody as much information as possible. Kelly spent a lot of time developing a tax calculator that we are going to put onto our website. And you'll be able to look at your property taxes. You can plug in your exact assessed value, pick if you live in Meyer or Spalding Township, and it will tell you exactly what the school bond will increase your taxes per year, and it will also tell you all of the other millages that are currently being levied throughout the county. Very cool. For me, this this bond equates to a $70 a year increase, or just over like 10 cents a day for me. And I would say I very much have a very average, middle of the road house, so I think the majority of our citizens in this township could see anywhere from 10 to 20 cents a day for this bond.
So, anybody has any questions for us?
Yeah.
If, so going back to the usage of that, of the old
Yep.
school, if, for example, like I haven't wanted to do a startup to do a computer repair place, would that be open to me, someone like me?
Absolutely. So,
Not being in Humford Spalding.
yeah, I mean, yeah, the sublease opportunities are open to whatever the township decides they want to approve. And we would be able to set the lease up however we want. So, you know, obviously the township, they're gonna be looking for people to potentially sublease those spaces. They tell us who they have coming in, we agree on it, that's fine. They come in, they pay a, you know, monthly fee or whatever to utilize
And
that.
that's going to the township? or-
Correct.
Yep.
Yep, that would go to the township.
And the ownership of the building stays to the township?
The ownership of the building would be up to the school district. And we would be, like I said, there's a variety of different ways that this can happen. What I've seen done is a school district leasing the building to a township for $1 for 100 years. You know, on paper, it's negligible, right? But the idea behind this is that we want this to benefit the community and benefit the township, and also benefit the school.
So there's a guarantee that's gonna be open to regular citizens, not just a
Yes.
small few?
Yep.
Okay.
Who would be responsible for the maintenance of that building?
So-
School district or?
So for the next, and that's all would get ironed out in the lease agreement. So that would be between, you know, the school and the township, trying to work that out. it can be set up in a variety of different ways. We're going to be maintaining that building for the next 3 years right now, and we're gonna be doing repairs as we go. Last year, we just replaced exterior doors, we replaced heating units. So we're gonna continue with the maintenance needs for that building. It's just gonna get it in better shape for when we are ready to lease it.
And after that, it might be the township.
Yep,
I mean, we're both taxpayers of both
correct,
facilities,
yep.
but then it would fall on the township.
To maintain, like the day-to-day maintenance.
That's the most logical path.
It is.
All the maintenance of it.
Correct.
I mean, that's a big building, we got a hard time paying for what we have right now, maintenance.
Yep, and I think in terms of, efficiency, that's something that we've talked about, the heat and the electric and things like that.
The only thing you have here, you gotta look at the opportunity for income. So this building has very little opportunity for income. That building has great potential. So when you're talking about the expense, there could be income to offset that.
And likely,
And much
likely
more
would be.
probable to have that occur. We already had somebody inquire right here today.
Right, but what happens if it needs a roof now in 10 years, 20 years down the road? At the current pace, we know that building costs are skyrocketing.
Mhm.
Right,
That's
but
gonna
if,
fall back.
but
Is this gonna?
from a taxpayer standpoint, we can but just keep backing up and letting this town disappear, or we can be a little progressive and try to make things happen. This is an opportunity as a township for us to make something happen with little to no investment.
Right, exactly.
So we can either back up and just let the thing dissolve like it's been going, maybe turn into a retirement community, or we can look at what the youth needs coming forward, and we can be a little progressive and try to make things happen in this town. I'm for that.
Yeah, yep.
So who will have governance over that after that 3 years? So if it's leased to the township determines what's gonna go on there? Who's going to be able to rent or lease space?
Yeah,
in it?
what would happen is, the township would try to seek out potential subleases, and when they get someone, they would have to work with us to make sure that it's a good fit, right? Because the school still owns the building. So we're not gonna, put something in there that us in the township don't feel is good for the community. So there would be a vetting process, it's just not gonna be sublet to anybody.
Okay.
Yes?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say is we so appreciate the graciousness of the school district with allowing us to use the facilities. Very much appreciated. So what I'm indicating is that there would be none of this area available until the end of 3 years from now. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, exactly. So we would continue to utilize the space, so, assuming the bond is successful in November, we would have to house our K-8 students here in Hermansville during the build. So the only thing that we would be able to keep there while construction is going on is our high school students. Everybody else would be packed in this building. It would reminisce the early days of the 1970s when that building was full. So we're gonna have it K-8 here, and then we would have the rest of the high school over there. And then we would transition over there for the fall of 2028, which is when this lease would then take effect.
Okay, so what we might be looking at then, you're saying 3 years,
Mhm.
but potentially 2.5 years, and then you would start looking at bringing vendors in or leasers in.
I think we could iron out the details of the lease long before that, and I think that we could start the township could seek out sublease opportunities prior to that with the understanding that this would not take effect till the fall of 2020.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, I would like to hit the ground running.
Oh, absolutely.
And have the rooms full, right,
Yep.
Polly?
Absolutely.
We can get the lease written as soon as I call our attorneys and say we want this lease written. It can be written. And then obviously that would be, we want it to be beneficial and work for both the township and
But like I told you guys,
the school.
is it should be up to the public.
Mhm.
Not these 5 people, have public meetings, get input on it, and see what the
But
people.
you guys are elected officials, right?
Right.
So you're guiding this whole mission. So
Exactly.
we have to appeal to you, because that's who we would enter into an agreement.
But I would
This-
bring it to the people.
I'm not saying that's not true, I'm
Right.
just saying that that's why we're talking.
This is,
about this
yeah,
board
this
today.
is, this is where we wanna start, this is the starting point.
So what's the capacity of the elementary school right now?
How many students do we currently have?
How many can it house?
That's a great question. I mean,
I don't know,
I would say close to 300,
Okay, so right now our count at the entire school, including.
310.
We're showing
314.
286 on the state site.
So I
And
include our,
down
I
from
include our
5 years
GSRP,
ago
I
at
include our,
350.
I include our GSRP program. So we're actually up we have 17 new students this year, starting in the district.
But it's still down from 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Every year.
across the
Yeah,
state,
is
you look
that
at,
this year.
250?
yeah, this is our first year in probably 10 years that we're starting with more students than we ended with.
Now, I understand with your meeting that you had there was nothing comparable for Hermansville being revamped into being the main school. Is there a reason why?
We
checked
absolutely looked into all of those scenarios. So that work started in 2021,
Yep.
when the board, long before I was here, started having conversations about getting everyone in one building. For us right now, it's not fiscally responsible to operate two buildings with declining enrollment. So everybody understands the need for us to get into one building. It's for us figuring out the best way to do that. So we looked at going everybody to Hermansville and what that would take. And we looked at everybody going to Powers and what that would take. And we had plans and scenarios for both of those. Now with this grant, one of the caveats is that we have to get everybody in a single location. So that means we can't have athletics and Powers and the kids here. We have to have everybody in a singular, unified campus. And the only way that we can do that is by moving to Powers. Because the geographical footprint here is not large enough to sustain what we need. We don't have, we have our CTE programs over there, we have our bus garage, our mechanics, everything over there. And we just, if the land was bigger here, or our piece was bigger, we could potentially very easily do that.
Well, I know there was the option of the fire department, because the fire department was supposed to be on the ballot this year for a new fire hall, but somehow that got put off because it didn't make the deadline with Menominee County. So that would have been a building that would have been available.
So
Right.
that would be the only way that it can happen. We'd also have to condemn the road.
Let me
Yeah,
jump
I mean,
in,
that's-
because we're a little more intimate.
Yeah.
You're new to the game, you might say. So the fire department sits on like 0.6 acres. So the whole campus here, including the playground and everything, is about 4.4.
Yeah.
So if you could add 0.6 to that, 4.5 acres, that simply isn't enough space to put the school with the added classrooms, an added gymnasium, parking, bus garage, CTE facilities, athletic complex. Doesn't fit. In Powers, we have about 26 acres, and right now
Swamp.
we have 26 acres. It's not all swamped down.
It's not.
It's not.
We had soil before.
We had soil borings. I have everything right
Right
here.
there.
If anybody would like to sit down and go through all the backup for where we are today, I have it, and I'm willing and looking for people to come talk. But nobody does. Everybody just wants to sit back and tell rumors and misconceptions of what's happening. That's not true. And anybody that knows me knows I'm not here giving you a line of crap.
Do a PowerPoint, Kelly. Do a PowerPoint. for
This
us.
is his
Well,
PowerPoint.
this is it. I'm sorry, right?
But
This
it
is
is
his
on the
power.
website. I mean,
So we went through all the
on
tasks.
the website.
We laid out the building. We sat down with construction managers and went through budgets.
We went through every.
We couldn't do it. We put it on the ballot to try to get it fixed, and the people didn't want to fix it. So the decision was, we went all in for
25 million, 26 million.
$26 million. We applied for the grant. We were successful in getting half of it. We couldn't turn down $15 million. That wouldn't be fiscally responsible to our district. Caveat, we have to move to one building.
Everything, every grant's
It's,
gonna have.
it's all right there in black and
So what
white.
will be the
You can
option
believe
if
what
the
you wish
bond-
to
if the
believe,
bond
but the
is not
fact.
passed?
If the bond doesn't pass, the scenario is the same, we're going to,
It's happening no matter what.
we're going to Powers. and it would not be what it could be. It would be a Band-Aid, and we would
Well,
just get everybody in one
The
building.
fact is, if we have to go there with 15 million, it sounds like a lot of money, right?
It isn't.
It isn't.
It's not a lot of money.
But we're gonna end up fixing things like we would have with the sinking fund grant, because we still have to add facilities to put all the kids in one place. So let's go ahead and let's fix some of these things and come back to the taxpayer in 10 years and say, now we need a sinking fund to try to fix up the stuff that we couldn't do right the first time.
With the Norway location, I'm sorry, with the Powers location, North Central is what I'm trying to say. Are you going to maintain the football field? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this. Some of the questions that I've heard, concerns, is that there's money going to continually improve the athletic department and sports rather than going to academia. And I mean, I'm not familiar with your program,
No,
so this
no.
is a completely.
I would be
Takes care of the athletics.
happy to answer that as I'm the person in charge of the finances for the district. As much as I love athletics, I think that over the last year and all the posts and social media and newsletters that we've sent out shows that my focus is not just on athletics, but for this district is bringing opportunities for our kids. We brought back band this year. We brought back art this year. We have a new partnership with Menominee County ISD for CTE. We're bringing all of these new opportunities for our students into the district that have nothing to do with athletics. And the majority of the athletics improvements that you're talking about, they come from the help from Lions Club and fundraising opportunities that take place. What I can tell you is that the amount of money that we spend from our budget on athletics is to pay for the coaches, to pay for transportation and jerseys, and that's the extent of it. The extra stuff comes from donations.
Okay, thank you. I mean, we work hard on those donations.
I believe the
I don't
Lions
even know
Club
what
raised
jerseys get done.
nearly $30,000
Yeah.
last year.
For football.
For the
And
Lions.
that's the improvements you've seen in the football field.
I'm an athletic mom,
Yeah.
I understand the cost, I mean,
Yeah.
we were doing the pay to play,
Mm-hmm.
so.
And that's what we want to avoid,
That's what we
Yeah.
want to avoid.
because a lot of our students and families can't afford that. So we
That's
don't want to
right.
ever get in
I
a
just-
position that we have to do that.
You see it, you see passion come out of me because I've been on this board for 8 years, right? And for 4 years, we've been working on trying to solve the school problem.
This started a
We've
long
just been handed a gift that nobody else has got. We basically got 60% of a new facility, virtually new, covered. We have to come up with 40. I want to get this across the finish line. I don't want to finish something not as good as it should be for our kids. Our kids deserve to have the best because they perform. It's been proven. Our kids perform coming out of North Central in not ideal conditions.
I want to say a special thank you to Travis for all his hard work for this, because he's
Thank you.
put in a lot of time and effort. Thank you. And you too also.
So get us another grant, Travis.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I
I
know
think
you
the day
are.
after we received it, I think I wrote another one for 60,000 to help supplement this grant. Haven't heard back on it yet, but I'm hoping that we can continue to secure funding so that we can just, make this even better than what you see on that print right there.
Well, I have to tell you, I had a personal giggle when I saw the grant disbursement. Because I'm thinking, here I am in North Central now, and at one point I was in Union City, Michigan, working there for the school district, trying to raise money, and then again up by Burton. So, I thought, wow, this is a win-win-win.
It is, and I've been in education a long time. I don't even know that they all blend together after a while, but I don't think people truly understand how rare it is for a UP school to get a grant of this magnitude. 99% of the funding in the state is south of the bridge. And talking to my colleagues from the Upper Peninsula, they also don't know a time when a school district in the UP got a grant like this. It's probably never gonna happen again. We were the ones that got chosen, so we're lucky.
Very lucky.
So what is your plan B if we weren't to agree with it?
What's the next, what would your plan be?
Well, it's not like we're forcing you.
Well, I know that, I was just wondering what would be.
We're just offering up what we think is a great scenario
Well,
for
yeah, I
everyone.
know that, but do you
I mean,
have a plan B just in case? What were you
There's
thinking?
always the option of us selling the building. Now, there's a couple reasons why we don't wanna do that. I mean, obviously, as the district, we have say in who buys the building, but like I said, I live 150 yards from the school. I
Right.
don't want that school building to be something that we can't be proud of as a community, and I want it to be able to be utilized by the community. So that's why when I brought this idea to Kelly and Chris, it's like, to me, this makes the most logical sense. It's a benefit to the township and the community, and it helps us preserve that building, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. Because we know that that building is a cornerstone in this community, and we want to keep it that way.
And to be honest, we've had the people, the question that they don't want to see it used for is some sort of supplemental housing.
Right, right.
Which, I guess I'm torn a little bit because we need housing in this community. Because that's part of why we're just fading away. But I understand that's the concern of the majority of the people. Well, then the solution to that is what we're presenting. And if it doesn't go that way, then we'll have to start other avenues.
Well, I'm thinking with new businesses coming in, even startup businesses or whatever, we have new population level that's coming in. And, I mean, now we're looking at building.
Right.
Well, with the additional revenue,
Yeah, but one question that was asked is, could there be a workout at YMCA for say? Because we have nothing, right?
great.
Right.
I want to plan it.
That certainly could be, there's plenty of classrooms up there.
I
something
miss my
could be
Planet
done.
Fitness.
Yeah.
There's lots of options that could be. I mean, we could talk to local law enforcement to see if maybe they want to put some offices in there.
Yeah, we will handle that.
Yeah.
There's
Well, nice commercial kitchen.
You know, I know that
Yeah.
our library would love to have more space to be able to expand her area. So that was one of the things we had talked about a long time ago.
Not to mention access would be so much easier for everybody.
Right.
And we're gonna continue until 2028, when community members come to us and they wanna utilize our facilities. 'Cause at the end of the day, our buildings belong to the taxpayers, and you'll see on this build that the board, one of their main focuses for this design was we wanted it to flow. We wanted the cafeteria to be next to the gymnasium, so that if community members wanted to come in and utilize that space, they have the opportunity. So all of this vision very much has the community at the forefront. We want to be sure that's clear, because the original design that was given to us by IDI and Meyer, it didn't have that, and the board's like, no, that's not what we're about here. We're a community first school district, and we want our community to be able to utilize this. So that's why, I don't even know how many times we went back to the drawing board on that before we came up with that. Quite a bit.
So would you overbuild hours in case Carney ever went to consolidate?
Yes, so
be ready to add on to.
the first conversation that I had with Meyer and IDI was we built in an extra elementary classroom, extra junior high, extra high school. We said we want this layout to reflect our goal of continuing to grow our enrollments, so that if in the future, if we need to add on, we're able to do so. So that design there reflects our hope that we're gonna continue to do what we've done over the last year, where we've got 16 new students, and we only see that increasing as the buzz for our new building starts to trickle out to surrounding communities. Families like new shiny things, they like state-of-the-art technology, school safety, school security. We're gonna be the beacon of that for our school district. Neighboring school districts won't be able to offer what we offer. Air conditioning and heat in classrooms. I know my staff is excited about that.
About the kitchen.
And the kids. I've taught in September in a classroom with 30 junior high kids when it's 95 degrees in the classroom. I can tell you, it's not nice, it's not pleasant. So that's a welcome opportunity as well, so.
How much of our local people are we going to be able to utilize in putting this building up? we have local businesses, is that?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm glad that you brought that up because that's something that is often overlooked. You know, we talk about our communities and all of the wonderful local businesses we have here. We're talking about bringing a $25 million project to our local economy. We look at our gas stations and our restaurants, our local businesses, contractors, all of them will have the opportunity to bid on these projects to bring additional revenue into our area. So we hope that all of our local contractors bid on these. And we know hotel, the motel, all the restaurants, they're gonna see significant increases because of the amount of people that are gonna be in our area for this building. Any other questions for us? So we're currently working on 3D renderings of that plan right there, and also some other scenarios if the bond was unsuccessful. We're going to continue to have informational meetings. The next one's going to be in early September. As soon as we finalize that date, we'll put it in the lofts. We're going to put it at all of our local establishments at phasers and the post offices, and we want everybody to come. So please, if you're able, come to one of those meetings. All the information that we're talking about tonight will be there, and hopefully we have a more solidified plan in the next couple weeks.
Last thing I want to say is, we're all on the same team. At times it feels like we're adversaries, like all we want to do is confront each other with problems, but we're all on the same team. I mean, we're one district, right? We might have 2 or 3 communities, but we're one district.
If anyone has questions on anything, any board member, Travis, any one of us, come and talk to us, come and ask us. We've been working on this for a long time. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. If we fumble this, it's gonna set us back a long way. So to do this the right way, it requires some input from the community, some, a little bit extra to do it the right way. There's never a good time to ask for tax money, there never is. But what possible better thing could we spend it on than the future of our communities? I can't think of anything else I'd rather spend money on, so.
Agreed.
How can we get tax money out of the people that rent in our area?
We do, because the landowner pays the
Yeah, I
tax.
know, but
He's gonna charge the renter.
Right. You just gotta increase your rent, right?
Yep.
They're already complaining that rent's too high,
Right.
which forces people out of the area. So, is it a win-win? No.
It's gotta be a win.
It's gotta be a win.
It's gotta be a win.
I mean, I don't know how to describe it any better, except at the one meeting I was at, a woman come up to me after and she's desperately type, she needs a home. She's got a couple kids, needs a home, and she's trying to work it out where she can get the home. I described it to her like this. Okay, you go to the bank and you say, there's a $200,000 home I want to buy. The banker looks at it all and he says, well, you know what? We could do that for you. But if you sign today, I'm only going to charge you $80,000. That's where we're at. $200,000 home for $80,000. She said, you convinced me, I'm a yes.
And then, another question that was brought up was, if this is unsuccessful, what does the future of the district look like? Nobody wants to pay taxes, but at the end of the day, if North Central School District no longer exists, me in Hermansville, I'm still going to be paying school tax, but it's just not going to be to benefit this community. It's going to be for Norway, or Kearney, or Bark River. We're still going to pay school taxes.
Yep, no matter what.
The beauty of this opportunity is we get to decide where that money goes, and it stays in this community and benefits our community members.
Kelly, can we put that, property tax calculator on our website?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
There's cards like that in
You
the
got,
folder
the cards don't have it though, cause it's brand new
Yeah,
yesterday.
Riley didn't get a chance to put it up there
You
today.
go into it when you turn. Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, well, like I said, community informational meetings will be continuing to happen as we get closer to November. In the meantime, my office is always open. I know Kelly and Chris are always more than willing to talk to anyone who has questions or concerns. Come see us. You know, we're the ones with the most up-to-date information. And these guys obviously can speak to the history a little bit better than I can, so.
I don't bite.
We
I'm
encourage
still a
you,
little emotional
if
sometimes.
there's others that aren't here tonight that you know have questions and concerns, encourage them to come talk to us, attend one of the meetings. Because like I said, we're trying to do what's best by our districts and by our community. All right, well, we appreciate the time tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We have to do the cookies.
Yeah, grab a chair.
What's that?
Do I have to bring you the cookies?
I want, you can tell
Yeah,
I like
questions.
cookies. Not someone that says making cookies.
All right, our next guest is Scott Nowak from Coleman Engineering to talk about the fire department's new pumping system.
So, thank you everyone. Scott Nowak, Coleman Engineering. So about a month ago, Pat and I met, looked at the pump, trying to get some ideas out there. I've spent quite a bit of time chasing down some code issues with this. Trying to fully wrap my head around all the issues that could come and play here. There's quite a few. I do want to start with just a summary of what we talked about and what you guys are trying to build here, I guess. It is a really good thing. From a guy that I design water systems for a living, a water system and some fire hydrants in this town would sorely needed to help with everybody's tax rates or insurance rates, and would be a good safety improvement. One of the things to consider with that is future expansion. I know we talked about the potential of someday putting some fire hydrants on this pump. Realistically, that means it's a municipal water supply that's just not for drinking. So some considerations with that, it really should be in pond. You know, you need a good source of water for that. I do agree with that. It could be put into the river, but I think the pond is the right call for that. That opens a lot of cans of worms in this situation, is how I'm gonna put that. First off, it's gotta be permitted by Eagle to put a pump like that in. You're gonna have to put an intake out in the lake. The lake's pretty shallow. That's one of the things that really got me in looking at this. You know, obviously I think everybody knows the weed situation out there. I see it's even on your agenda. That is a consideration for a pump like this. You can't be clogging the pump off during fire, right? So we gotta put something out in deep enough water. When I say deep, I mean far and I mean expensive. That's one of the things that really bit in this. Another consideration along the way with that is constructability of this. How can you get this thing close to shore? Where can you get it to where an excavator can reach out there? It is going to be difficult when you do something like that. I'm thinking it needs to be 150 feet out into the lake to get to deep enough water to stay away from these weeds. The pipe itself, it's got to be fairly large. You know, that pump is rated for well over 2,000 gallons a minute. The design standards for something like that say you should be rating that pipe for 1.5 times the capacity of that pump, so 3,000 gallons a minute, which means a 24-inch pipe out into the lake. Obviously, it's tasked to put a 24-inch pipe 150 feet out into the lake. A couple other things that not everybody thinks about with this, the velocity of the water that's coming into there, even at a 24-inch pipe, it's 2.5 feet a second, which is relatively fast for a pipe. When you start 2.5 feet a second, anything more than that, you start sucking in weeds, turtles, beavers, whatever. So that's just another consideration there. Ice is the other one that is really a concern of mine in this situation. Obviously, we have the capacity for all of 2 feet ice in that lake. I would say 3 feet's probably a fairly average bad winter around here. One of the things that happens with water intakes is a phenomenon called frazzle ice, and this is the same thing that happens. You open a can of soda or a bottle of soda and then it instantly freezes on you. I think everybody's seen that. When you suck water through an intake like that, it can do that, and it wants to build off the ice layer on the top. Very hard to predict that, but that's another issue, to try to be as deep as possible to stay away from the ice. It'll want to build frazzle ice down from the surface when you kick the pump on. So what we came up with is a 24-inch pipe stuck out in the lake, again, about 150 feet. You have to put a vertical upturn on this. At the end, an intake horn is what I always call it. Keeps things in the bottom from being sucked in. That would connect to what I would guess to be a 5 or 6 foot diameter manhole on the shoreline. The pump would be mounted inside of that. That would be filled by gravity back from the lake. So the pump would be down below the level of the lake. And then as you suck water out of this manhole, it's backfilled by the pond. Pretty standard way of doing a lake intake. That's pretty much how they're all built. Started talking to Baco and Payne and Dolan about this, and neither one, they're both very cagey about it. Because of the difficulty and some of the unknowns on how you're going to put the pipe in the lake, given that the first 50 to 100 feet off the shore are just a couple of feet deep, and it's really got to be down under that. Their take on that, just installing the pipe, was $150,000 to $250,000, and that is a wild swag from both of them. I'll admit, one of them was 125 and rethought it up to 150, and one of them was up in the 300s and came back to about $250,000. But it's an order of magnitude on what you're talking about here just for the pipe. Couple of permitting considerations with that too. You'd have to put a turbidity curtain out into the lake, start digging around the lake bottom. That's going to cost $25,000 to put basically a silt-proof curtain out in the water. And a couple other questions with that as far as how that's going to happen. I tried to talk to Eagle at length on this as far as the permitting. There are some considerations for high volume water intakes for fish. Mussels in the lake are another one. There are Michigan listed threatened mussels in the lake. They're pretty much every water body in the state of Michigan right now, but mainly up here. So that's another issue it has to be talked about and dealt with Eagle. I do think it's a permittable project if the funding could be found to do this, at least from an Eagle standpoint. I do think they would permit it, but we would have to get into it and actually file a permit with them to actually find that out. There's a couple other things that just came up along the way. The building that this pump would be housed in, there's some code compliance problems that are going to drive the cost of the building up quite a bit. Diesel pump, the diesel has to be held in a separate room, firewall from the pump. It's going to have to be ventilated, heated. Considerations for that between a propane tank, electric service out there. The building itself, being a commercial building, is probably going to have to be built by a contractor. A little bit on the insurance side of this. I would highly recommend you get a very well insured contractor for doing work like this, especially mucking around in a lake like this. There's some environmental considerations. One of the things that is quite expensive is pollution liability insurance that I require of pretty much any contractor digging in the water. And you know, the Bachwas and the Payne and Dolans of the world have that, but a lot of the local folks just don't have that type of insurance. But that's things to cover the township and that. But I guess with that spiel, I'll open that up to any questions or.
Is there any grants out there? I mean, I checked some with the DNR, but they just won't cover that. Why, I have no freaking idea.
I don't know from the fire protection side of things. I do think it is public infrastructure for the greater good. Obviously, it is fire protection related. I know USDA has given loans in the past for work like this. I'd never like to consider that as a grant thing. USDA community facilities for a loan. They have zero grant money right now for consideration. As far as other grants, Not that I'm aware of. I did do a little digging after you asked me that, Mark.
Scott, what would the difference be in sourcing it with a well as opposed to the lake?
High capacity well. The problem with well drilling is you never know until you poke a hole in the ground. Nowadays, a high capacity well like that, it's a municipal well. I'd have a $100,000 budget before you started drilling, with no guarantee you're gonna find water, put it that way. I don't know if there's any real history in the Irwinsville area of looking for a high capacity well. I mean, I don't think municipal water's ever been considered around here, and that's the kind of drilling you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one we had was in Kennard, and they filled it in with cement after we closed the mill.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems with that, the highest capacity well I know of in the entire Upper Peninsula is owned by the city of Iron Mountain, and it barely makes 2,000 gallons a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, that is about as good as a well gets. That thing is in 70 or 80 feet of very coarse pit and run gravel, 100 feet down by Bass Lake is actually what it is.
Okay.
So I've never seen one that good before. Typically, you know, you look at Powers, Norway, 200, 250 gallons a minute, and then you make up the difference for fire need with the tank, you know, and that's, you know.
Yeah, that pump's not designed for a well. It's designed for a pit,
Right,
you know.
for sure. Yeah, that's the thing, you need a water source, a freeze-proof water source. It's a nice pump. I do like the pump. If we could get that line into the lake reasonably.
Okay.
One other bit that we did talk about on the side of the dam, north side of the dam, that is almost certainly railroad right away that they just don't exercise any rights over. As far as going into the dam, Eagle would have some issues with that. I honestly wouldn't even ask to be, I'd be asked to be not involved if you want to go hole in the dam. That's its own problem. But yeah, the railroad right away, that complicates it, obviously. There is some options to potentially be a little cheaper with this and looking at the area by the beach. You know, the conversations we had was the old boat launch south of the dam. That's somewhat the most readily accessible area to deep water. And when I say deep, I'd like it to be 6 to 8 feet to the bottom of the pipe.
What about the old spillway?
You're still getting into the structure of that dam.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Piping failures is the engineering term for it. If you poke a hole in a dam with anything, water wants to follow that out, starts taking material with it, the dam washes away. That's the nightmare of any engineer. So what I would propose, and what we did look at was the intake structure, the pump, everything being on the shoreline uphill of the lake, so that opportunity for failures doesn't exist.
What is the right of way there for the railroad?
We think it's 100 feet, east side. We think that, but I'm looking at a drawing from I think it's a week. So, yeah. Railroad right away is a very difficult thing to find. Usually the drawings, a lot of them are 1800s.
Yeah.
You could dig in it and they'd never say a word. But if you ask them, they're gonna tell you where it is. Yeah. Canadian National is very difficult. There's one other thing, and I put a lot of thought into this. And I know Pat's thought too, a very good one. To have fire hydrants strung up in the town off of this would be wonderful. One of the most expensive, difficult things you can do is cross a railroad track with a pressurized water pipe. The last time I did that, it was $160,000 just under the tracks, to bore under the tracks. So, yeah, that's, and I'm sure it's much more than that now. They don't allow directional drilling under the tracks, and their permit process is terrible.
All right, well, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you for the info. Pat, what do you think overall?
Expensive.
But we gotta do something, right? So we're gonna have to start working on it and get something done here. I mean, even if we don't bore underneath the tracks, we still can run the line all the way to 388 down along the tracks, you know, and have hydrants, you know. Not says we can't string a hose across the tracks either. But it would be a great benefit to the town, and the insurance rating would go down too. We drop our insurance rating. We're at a 9, and it tends to high.
Scott, you, in your estimation, having the intake on the south side of the pond is the best place to have it?
Probably, yeah, like I was saying,
Right.
you know, running what the intake you guys have today works well because it's running water, you know. To get to a true large source of water, you know, the running water gets you there. That could be visited as well, you know, digging a pond and siphoning some water off of that. You know, there's some other options, but if it's an intake into the lake that works with that pump as that pump is put together, it would, I think it'd have to be on the south side of the lake.
Okay.
Yeah, I think your deepest area is right in front of the dam there, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, is getting as close as I can to that, right in front of the dam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people brought, the weed consideration
Well,
out
yeah.
there is a big one. If you start sucking in 2,000 gallons a minute into this intake line, and these weeds are breaking loose the wrong time of year, that you could clog this thing right off and make it useless, so.
Okay.
How come we didn't look into all of this stuff before you purchased the pump? I mean, if you have a pump that's not doing nothing.
Oh, it's
What
gonna
good is
run.
it?
Don't worry about that.
Oh,
We're gonna make it work. We're gonna get it going.
but if you can't through the Eagle and everything, how are you gonna?
Oh,
run?
Eagle will permit us. They're gonna permit us.
It's
We
gotta,
have to come up with the money.
money.
We just gotta come up with the cash.
Yeah, I do believe that the project at large, it is a public project for fire safety. Eagle will permit this. They will. I'm not gonna tell you there won't be some hurdles in that process. There always is, but it is a permittable project.
Something has to be done.
You gotta be
We can't
some
continue
grants
what we're
or
using
something.
right now. And this is our best source right here, the best deal. You're not gonna find anything else like that out there for that.
Who seeks that permit? Who works through Eagle? Is that the fire
It'd be a-
department, Pat, or is that the township?
It'd be an
or-
engineering task. We would-
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
we would look through that.
You assign this one? Okay.
But it has to get done, so we gotta find a source of funding. You know, like I say, I looked around too, there's nothing out there. I mean, there's stuff out there for extending a system. But the initial setup of it, and
The sad truth is there's a lot of money involved with water systems that,
Yeah, there is.
but it's potable water system money. I mean,
yeah,
I'm hugely familiar with that funding. That's exactly what I do, but it's all contingent on potable water funding.
All right, well, thanks for coming down, Scott. And all the great information.
well, we got an idea where we're going with it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we knew it was gonna be a challenge, right, with the pit and everything, and tapping into the lake, right? We knew that was an issue, right? But right now, we're tapped into the river,
Yeah,
and, it's falling apart, right? We rebuilt it 30 years ago, and plus, and the pumps are old, they're 1950s. We gotta upgrade it. And this system's the system to do it. You know, it's unreliable, the old system, it's beyond its
right.
time, right? So we definitely have to do something.
Scott,
So
what do
we
you
need to
think our first
get
step
on
is?
this and find some funding, whatever we need to do, but we have to get it done. Because I'm getting tired of working on those pumps down there.
So you're already tapped into the river, but there's a big difference with the lake.
Huge, the river dries up almost
It
every
dries
year.
up this year,
This year,
we've had rain off and on, but
Yeah.
a lot of times
This
it's
year's
pretty
been
low.
good, yeah.
rates are
It's
up.
pretty good. But you gotta remember, the
And the
pipes have
river-
been, that's grandfathered in, they were put in the early 1900s, and we replaced them 30+ years ago, right? Yeah, so,
Okay.
and so
And
is
it
that,
froze.
so is that dam, right?
Yeah.
So now, we go in there now to touch that dam again, are they gonna permit us to touch that dam? I don't know. They may tell us, no, you know, you don't know. But,
And it freezes up in the winter.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's, you know, we gotta have a source of water, right? I'm not gonna be out there in that lake trying to cut a hole in the ice to get water in the middle of winter. You know, and that's our only source of water right now. You don't have time to be doing that when you get a call. You know, you got a structure fire, you don't have time to be cutting holes in the ice. You just don't.
What would our first step be, Scott?
So-
Seeking the permit?
And that's why I'm gonna stick around, is to talk to Pat a little bit more
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
You know, there's, the thing that's scary with a project like this, as an engineer, what number do I tell you is enough when you go ask for money, and then we go to bids and it's not enough, right? That's what I'm scared about. I'd like to potentially do some preliminary engineering and get some real numbers from some contractors where they're staring at it.
Okay.
Part of that would also take a preliminary permit application to Eagle, they call it pre-application meeting.
Okay.
They'll give you some ideas of some of the hurdles they see along the way. But really, I'm just talking to them until you have that meeting, they won't give you anything in writing. But
So our first step would be to contract with you.
I will offer to work on this a little bit more for free
Okay,
until we get a little bit more into the feasibility of this.
okay. Well,
I-
we appreciate that.
Now, one of the things I do not like to do, and I might not live in Meyer Township, but my land borders it, and the fire truck could show up at my house too. I'll give you that part of it. I do not like getting into an engineering project and spending $40,000 of your money or something and finding out it's unbuildable. I'd like to get this feasibility figured out a little bit, but this is it's an out-of-the-box project here. This is a very rare thing. You know, you see it in industry some, but municipally, you just don't see things like this. So I got a lot of questions for a lot of people, codes, things like that.
All right. All right, thanks a lot. All right, bills, minutes, and treasurer's report. Can I have a motion to approve the bills, minutes, and treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second
Motion by Mark, second by Brenton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Maxine, treasurer's report.
All right. On the audit, again, Manor Coast area did not meet their July deadline. They got done with 21 and 22. So they're still looking for stuff to finish up 23 and 24. So we do keep getting requests for invoices. So we'll have those, each week they ask for 10, 15 more invoices. So we're getting those for them. Called the state of Michigan, and we are all finally up to date on all the back forms. and we have no balance, full balance is due. So we're even with them. IRS, I can't get in to getting a call. They're just not taking messages. And so that's good. And then I'll be in the office on September 15th from 9 to 5 for tax collection. Everything's due on the 15th. After that, interest and penalties.
That's it?
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. The delinquent sewer customer update. After our last meeting, I heard from them rather rapidly, and they met with Linda and I and made a $200 payment and pledged to make a $200 payment every month until it's paid up. So we were agreeable to that. We'll see how it goes. As far as the well at the point, the well has been drilled. We're waiting on the hand pump to arrive. So that project is, as soon as the hand pump arrives, that project will be done. So from there, we will go to the Wilma Kennedy lawsuit, Linda. Maxine?
We were served, I don't remember what the date was,
July 28th.
July 28th, was it? Okay. July 28th by Mrs. Kennedy, regarding her FOIA request that she had submitted back in October of '24. And what was submitted to her previously was deemed not good enough. So she now is giving us a lawsuit that we will have to submit through a lawyer and go to court for this. So we then today received from the county clerk, Menominee County, that paperwork is filed and they will be setting a court date for us to go down.
Okay.
So what is the stance on FOIA requests? Are we meeting the FOIA requests?
Not public comment, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh. Guess that's enough.
Guess that's the other board member.
All right, next we have a parcel reconfiguration application for Lime Great Lakes. Just need to have a vote on it. So, I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next is, lake weeds.
Well, they did 48 acres. They sprayed them. A lot of people are using the lake though, for kayaks, kids fishing. The final bill is $14,110. And I will see what, from the EDC, Linda, cause I was reading the wrong amount on their sheet here, so I'll do a little ball tomorrow and see if I can get it borrow it from them until December. Instead of taking it out of the general fund.
water testing and everything came back good. That's the only change.
Alright. Sewer department and parks update.
Sewer's good. They should be starting that project here sometime in September, the lift station.
Okay.
As far as the parks, lots of geese shit, other than that.
Oh, well, on that subject, I did find online, goose repellent. If we'd be interested in trying it.
Oh.
It's it's about $125 for a 5-gallon pail.
I don't know, maybe, it's kinda late in the year now, 'cause a lot of them are gonna be heading out, but
You try it for next
for
year.
next year, I would.
You can't,
Cause that pavilion is just freaking gross.
cause I think we probably
I
watched it
think Pat
5
pulls
times.
it off again.
It's,
Yeah, it had to be 3 inches thick on that.
it says
Worst I've ever
it's
seen.
safe for, it's safe for the environment and for if there's kids in the park and all of that sort of stuff.
Can't
It
hurt
just-
to try.
It keeps the geese away from the grass.
Yeah.
They claim the most you have to apply it in a season is twice. And as the time goes on, the geese will know not to come anymore, is what they claim. They don't guarantee it with a money back guarantee, but that's what they claim.
Supposed to numb their tongues and they don't like that when they eat
Yeah.
the grass.
Yeah. So, if we wanna try that in the spring,
I would.
it's an option. It's, it was DIYpestcontrol.com was the place that has it.
DIY.
Yeah.
When's the early season?
September 1st. I got a bunch of, I gotta put that our building's not a dwelling, as long as I post it on the club. DNR said they could shoot away down there. So I told them flatten them all.
The geese?
Yep. September 1st is the early goose season.
Oh, okay, well, that sounds
They
good.
should hammer them.
All right. Any board comment?
Yep. In regard to FOIAs, our lawyer, Mr. O'Day, suggested we need to adopt procedures now for submitting FOIAs, so they're just not random emails coming in. We need some structure.
Okay.
So we need to have that going forward. He said he would help us.
Okay. And Mr. O'Day is the attorney through the power plan, the insurance company.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Do you have anything? No?
I got nothing.
Nothing. Public comment? Bob?
The 14,000 you talked about, that's on top of the 15,000? Okay. How much did the well cost?
The quote was,
No, not the quote, the actual.
the bill hasn't come in yet.
Okay. All right, how far did you go down?
I haven't talked to him since he drilled it, so I'm not sure how far down he went. I know the quote was 120 feet when he gave us the quote.
That's it for me.
You've been out there.
Anyone else? Misty?
How was the public made aware that the meeting was moved till tonight?
I informed Vicky to put it in the Luffs on August 1st.
I didn't see it in the Lux. I don't know, did anybody else see it in the Lux?
It was there. Not this week, but the week before. It said move date. It was
So based on the Open Meeting Act, it does state if there's a change, it needs to have 18 hours.
August
rescheduled.
1st was more than 18 hours ago.
And you're saying that it was in the Lux?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Oh.
It's not this week, it was the week before this one.
Okay.
Where was it on the website?
On the road.
Any Anybody else have public? Pam?
Question for signage for, with upcoming winter. I'm enjoying the summer, but
Parking
for no parking, correct. If there can be signs posted for that.
up on the hill?
And I hear other places as well. It's getting a little out of hand, cars all over the
I
place.
can talk to the road commission about that.
Okay.
Or if they don't do it, we could potentially do it ourselves. Just for, to help you out up there, so you don't have that situation again.
That'd be great.
Anybody else? There's no other public comment?
I do have a comment. This is in regards to the information that's going out in the minutes. And minutes must show the date, time, place, members present, etc. Any decisions made at a meeting open to the public and the purpose or purposes. My concern is the last couple sets of minutes that we have seen come out, there is definitely missing information in there. One was a motion, Chad, that, well, let me back up. The first motion was that Maxine had requested the scanner, and I understand that. And Chad, you simply made the motion to purchase a scanner, and I think what we need to remember to do is if there's going to be a motion regarding fiduciary expenditures, we need to make sure that the amount of that expenditure is included in that motion. But I didn't see that motion in the minutes at all. And then the second item that I noted was missing was, Chad, you had asked for permission to contact Attorney Steve Tinty to file a lien or whatever you needed to do, even though it's gonna cost more than you're gonna get back in regards to the delinquent sewer individual. Mark had seconded that, and both of those were passed unanimously. And neither one of those motions were included in the minutes that are coming out. So when I'm looking at the minutes that are being published now, it appears to be more of an agenda rather than what's actually occurred in the meeting. So I think it's important that that information be gotten up to residents. And Maxine, thank you for all your work on the treasury stuff.
Okay, thank you, Willie. Then, there's no, Pat?
What are we doing with the fire department? We were supposed to have a special meeting, and we didn't have a special meeting to get it on the ballot for some reason, but what are we gonna do?
We'll have to put it on the ballot next year in the election year. Do you not feel that the school, how would
Is that the factor why you didn't put it on?
What?
The school?
Yeah, I think,
Is that what you-
I think
is
the
that what you're
school,
telling me?
I think the school
So you chose
proposal
the
should stand
school-
on its own.
Huh?
I think the school proposal should stand on its own. What would it solve to put the fire hall on the ballot with the school proposal?
What would it hurt? We're in dire need.
It's fire protection.
I
Oh
understand
my
that.
God. You gotta be kidding me, right? You chose that over, I mean, I understand they're both important, but I think we've been asked, 2 years now. We've been trying to get this because of the books have been screwed up.
Pat, you've wanted that fire hall for 20 years.
No, the last 2. We're jam-packed. We're in there on angles. My God. And now you decided, who decided this? We talked at the last meeting that this was gonna be put on there. I'm getting all my ducks in order, and all of a sudden I get thrown underneath the bus.
How many mills is it? I've never
Well,
seen.
we wouldn't sit down and talk about it, but we never had a meeting,
Say, 'cause I
because
never
nobody
seen
answered my
this
phone calls
man
back. I knew what was going on. It wasn't born yesterday, but it pisses me off. It's terrible, it's just terrible.
I have a question about that. Didn't we just redo that fire hall and pay how much to have it redone?
That's years ago.
What, a couple years ago?
The 10, 15 years
That's when
ago.
I was there.
Yeah, Bob was in there. And that was just to get so we could raise the doors so we can get the trucks in the buildings. That building was built in 1950.
No, I
Yeah.
realize that, but I thought Griggs just did a lot of work
Oh,
on it.
that's quite a few years ago. Yeah.
But, couldn't you just add?
That was to
a
get it
couple-
up to grade.
Couldn't you just add a couple more stalls instead of a room?
We got no room, there's no room there.
You can't go towards that blue building by the school?
The school property is right up to our building. They don't wanna sell us any property.
Okay.
They have no interest in selling us any property.
Okay.
And we're stuck where we're at. We need a building. But this is ridiculous. I mean, come on. We talked about this at the last meeting. Well, we're gonna have a special meeting. So I'm getting all my ducks in order, and then nobody calls me back. Nobody answers my calls back. And then I knew what was going on. I figured it out after what was going on. And it's terrible. So you guys just took it upon yourself to say, well, we're not gonna do it.
I didn't say shit. Nobody called me. I talked to you Wednesday at the thing.
Pisses me off.
I didn't decide anything.
It's terrible. And here we sit, jammed up in there. We don't even have a meeting room. We got a Ranger 6x6 parked in our meeting room, but we don't need a building. We're trying to provide a service here for the township, and we're getting no help from the township. All this volunteer time we put in, all the hours we put in, go down there and get that pump and everything, all volunteer hours to keep them pumps running down there. We don't charge a dime for that. Nothing. All the maintenance on those trucks I do myself, 99% of it. And I don't charge for it. And then we get slammed with this. We're trying to keep this thing going.
I understand that, Pat. How are you getting slammed? If we put the fire hall on the ballot and
You
all.
think that's gonna kill the school election?
No, not necessarily.
Well, that's what you're saying.
But the perception would be
The
that.
idea was, we've been waiting for 2 years for this. And slowly waiting for this tax thing to get done. Is it done? Is it good? So we can't even get a bond.
No, it's not done.
How far off is it? Are we gonna be able to get one next year? Is it gonna be done?
No, we still have 2 years to do.
Huh?
We still have 2 years.
So how long is it gonna take them? You said at the last meeting, you said it should be done, so we could get it on the ballot.
It depends on how.
So now it's not gonna be done now.
Well,
The county fund's not
Well, what, you gotta have you gotta have some idea when it's gonna be done. Does anybody have an idea?
When the audit will be done.
When the account.
So we wouldn't even be able to put it on the bond then?
It's when the accounting firm gets the information from the township.
when it's gonna be done.
First they said July and that it was all supposed to be done, all 4 years. And they only did 2.
Oh. You'd be lucky if it's done by next year.
I would count on it.
Turn around and look at your old supervisor over
Oh, no.
Oh,
The
please.
new supervisor-
Look at the board.
Make a motion to
Look
adjourn.
at
Come on,
the new supervisor who was
all in favor,
doing
say
his
aye.
job.
Let's
Yeah.
let's don't do that. We don't wanna argue here. We wanna get along, we wanna make progress, right? I don't wanna sit here and argue with anybody, but damn it, come on.